tip or not to tip? That is the question. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him so well. Shakespeare, really? I can't pull that off, can I? Hi, I'm Lee, welcome to my channel. I love travelling and I've been documenting some of my trips on this channel for, well, anybody that wants to watch them really. In 30 days time, in just a month even, I'm doing my next trip on the Valiant Lady with Virgin Voyages, going around France, Italy and Spain, and I can't wait. But until then, I want to talk about this post that I saw on Facebook today. This post really highlights something that I've been thinking about a lot since my last cruise back in January on board the Celebrity Equinox on an Antarctic adventure. You can see that entire vlog series, I'll link to it at the end, but on that cruise I was left querying whether I'd done the right thing by prepaying my tips and my gratuities. I struggle with that word, so I'm going to say tips before we boarded. And this post and the comments underneath highlight perfectly some of my thoughts and feelings around whether you should either tip before you cruise, or if you tip pay as you go, or you don't tip at all. So let's get into my thoughts. Full disclosure, being a Brit, being from the UK, I'm not used to tipping. Tipping isn't part of everyday culture. It's not expected when you go to a bar or restaurant. It is a nice thing to do if you feel like the service warranted it. We have a standard living wage in the UK for people who work in restaurants and bars. I know certainly in the United States things are very different because tips make up the bulk, if not all, of a service person's wage. But that doesn't apply here in the UK. But that also doesn't apply in other European countries like Spain, Italy, Greece, France, and other places that I've travelled around the world. So tipping is very much something that I'm not used to having to do. I did my first cruise in 2021 on board the Celebrity Silhouette. Back then, Celebrity's all-included package did include drinks, Wi-Fi and tips. Since then, Celebrity have changed their offering so that the all-included package now only includes drinks and Wi-Fi. So I struggle to see how they can refer to it as all-included. On that cruise in 2021, I boarded the Silhouette not knowing what to expect, not knowing what the done thing or the right thing to do was with regards to tips. My view was I had already prepaid my tips at the point of booking, or they were included as part of the all-included package. So I didn't need to tip anything else to any of the servers, wait staff, or room attendants while on board. On the last day of the cruise, the envelope shown in this Facebook post turned up in my cabin, and I was left thinking, should I have tipped? Should I have done more? Up until that point, because tips were already included, I didn't think I had to leave anymore because the all-included package had tips included. I then did 3 other cruises over the next 2 years with them, and still at that point their all-included package included drinks, Wi-Fi and tips. It was only when I booked the Antarctic cruise on the Equinox for this January that I'd noticed that Celebrity had changed their all-included package, and it gave the option to prepay tips at the time of booking. This was new to me. I didn't know what to do. Do you press that button? Do you add them? Do you remove them? In the end, I pressed the button and prepaid the tips as part of the overall package, mainly because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want the hassle of having to go to guest services and querying why extra charges were being added to my account each day. And because of that, I thought it was just easier to have added the tip at the point of booking. However, throughout the cruise, I was left wondering whether I'd done the right thing. And certainly every time we ate in the main dining room, because we had the same serving team each night, and I was left wondering whether it would have been better had I not paid the tips up front. I did pay as you go, giving tips to the wait staff and the serving team who were serving me directly. Having also done 2 cruises with Virgin on Scarlet Lady and Resilient Lady, those cruises were booked at a time when Virgin's packages also included tips at the point of booking, so there was no expectation or requirement to tip as you were on board. You were certainly not pressured into feeling like you had to tip by the teams on both of those ships. Virgin have now changed their policy with tipping, and it's no longer included as part of your overall cruise fare. You now have to select at the point of booking whether you want tips included or not. If you choose to prepay your tips as part of the package, you pay $20 a day. If you choose to not pay your tips as part of the package, you're charged at $22 per day per person, or per night per person whilst you're on board, which I disagree with. I really, really disagree with. In the US, I understand tips make up the bulk of a service person's wages. However, when it comes to cruises and cruise lines that make billions of dollars a year in profit, I have an issue with it. Last year, Royal Caribbean Group made $2.9 billion worth of profit. 2.9 billion. That's a mad amount of money. And they have the audacity to put these types of envelopes in guests' cabins asking for guests to subsidise the wage of the crew on board. If a company is making $2.9 billion worth of profit, they should be able to afford to pay their staff the right amount without expecting guests to have to top that up. But it isn't just Royal Caribbean that do this. All the cruise lines have similar practices. Carnival Cruise Line last year made $1.9 billion worth of profit, and Norwegian Cruise Line made $910 million worth of profit. That's insane amounts of money. And they're expecting guests to top up the crew's wages, but because they refuse to pay them a decent wage. Now, I don't want to take anything away from any of the crew on board any of these cruise lines. All the crew work so hard that they deserve to be paid and compensated fairly for their time, their effort, and what they give while on board. I'm yet to meet any crew member on any of the ships that I've sailed on who doesn't make me feel special. When crew are working for 6, 7, 8, 9 months a year, if not longer, without days off, long days up to 14, 15 hours at a time for some of them, they deserve a decent salary. They deserve a decent wage. Yes, if service is good. Yes, if someone goes above and beyond, then tip them if you wish, is my view. On the Virgin Cruise in a few weeks' time, that was booked pre-October the 7th, so therefore tips were included at the point of booking. For the 3 cruises with Celebrity that are coming up over the next 3 years, tips currently are included as part of the package price. I do have the option to remove them, but I don't know whether I should. Should I just tip as I go? Or do I leave the tips as they are as part of the booking and just not worry about it? What should I do? What are your thoughts on tipping? Do you prepay? Do you pay as you go? Do you not tip at all? I'm really keen to hear other people's thoughts on this. So please leave a comment, please like, please subscribe, and let me know your thoughts. To tip or not to tip extra? That's the question. Until next time, bye for now.